Okay, can everybody hear me? Everything says we're good, so I assume we're good. And I will swing this over here. We'll be ready to get started in a few minutes, guys. Okay, so I think where I'd like to get started this week. Now, I highlighted basically the 5 plays I've noted in the article, or the 5 plays I've spotlighted in This Week in Defenses article piece that will be out later. If you don't want spoilers for that, and you are, bent on reading the text version with GIFs and stuff like that, you may want to step out, and I'm totally okay with that. Um, so with that said, let's get started. It's 5:20 left in the first quarter. Is the first play, and I'll let you guys cue that up. If you want to ask questions, you can post them in the comments. I will get them in real time. Realize that I am on a 10-second delay, and so I may not get to you right away, but I will be keeping an eye on those comments as they come in. All right? So I will give you guys a few seconds to get that queued up. 5:20 in the first quarter. And before we start the play, if you have it on pause, note the fact that there's a bunch formation on the left side of the defense, or the left side of the formation. San Diego actually used this a lot in the game. Um, it was very interesting, and they almost never threw at the bunch formation. So they obviously were trying to sort of crowd Seattle's defense in one area and create open space in the middle of the field. Um, in fact, I think they only screen pass to Eddie Royal out of this formation. So it's very interesting to see how Mike McCoy approached. It's definitely something Pete Carroll's going to have to deal with and adjust to, because if teams realize they can start, bunching Seattle's defense up against this formation, you're going to see it a lot more if that turns out to be super effective. Okay, so starting the play now, and Philip Rivers notes something, and O'Brien Schofield comes up with a good rush, but it's a dump off to Danny Woodhead. And here's why I noted this play right away. This is a situation where Seattle's running on defense, but nobody picks up Woodhead. And somebody should have keyed on him initially, if not just flat out had him out of the backfield. I think in this case it's probably Wagner's fault, but it's hard to know for sure. So we'll go back to the play a little bit here, because I want to get the full feel of this play. So Bobby Wagner automatically gives ground, and he gives a lot of ground. So, but he's the guy pretty much that should have this instantly as soon as he sees Woodhead, breaking out of the backfield. He should be zipping up, but he has no ability to do that as he gives so much ground at the snap. Coverage is, but he really shouldn't be that deep on the play. It's a little confusing to me because usually Wagner's pretty good about making sure he doesn't give so much ground so quickly. Maybe it's the crossing pattern. There is a crossing pattern that shows up late, but that should be Thomas's get. Just a bad pass off, bad communication. Another reason I noted this play is because Seattle's defense doesn't usually make mistakes like that where guys wind up wide open. Now it happens every now and again. You might get it in a game once or maybe twice, but Seattle actually struggled with this a lot in the game. Guys not picking up certain guys and wide open passes going to running backs, or just different things that are out of character for what Seattle's done in the last 4 years under Pete Carroll. The other thing to note is I wonder if part of the zone coverage that forced Bobby to bail deep is because Seattle's focused on Rivers' approach, which has always been throw the ball deep, come down underneath very late, which has been his MO for a number of years. Okay, let's go ahead and get to the next play, which I believe is at 12:11 in the second quarter. So that's at 12:11. I'll let you guys catch up with me. think it's at 12. Yeah, it's at 12:11. I'm sorry, the clock has just stopped. It was on second goal. It's third and goal. It's third and goal, 12:11 left in the second quarter. Now, Jerron Johnson's directing traffic here. Cam Chancellor's up in press against Gates. Um, what's notable here is that you have, I believe that should be Malcolm Smith. I'm going to double check here. So, on this play particularly, we see a bit of confusion. So Chancellor's in press. They have, I believe that's Cliff. No, that's, who is that? That's going to bother me because I didn't note it, and I probably should have. Okay, that's Wagner behind Chancellor there, the linebacker. So Wagner gets sucked up on Woodhead out of the backfield. This puts Chancellor in a one-on-one, but Chancellor is also in press. He's supposed to get a redirect on Gates, and he can't do that. And one of the big reasons you don't want to do that with a guy like Antonio Gates or good route runners is they will utilize the extra field to the outside. A play like this, if you note the formation, where Whistler starts, there's a whole bunch of outside grass. So if he doesn't get a good jam on Gates to slow him up, there's all that grass that Chancellor now has to cover. And of course, Chancellor doesn't get a good jam, and he has to try to make up ground, and Gates just basically runs pretty much what looks like a fade pattern, but he cuts back inside with a few steps, and Phillip Rivers is able to get the ball to him to the inside of the field, away from Chancellor. It's perfect execution by Gates. It's a poor matchup by Seattle. Just a really poor matchup. If you go ahead and watch the replay, Gates just gets off the jam. Chancellor is just desperately trying to hold on for dear life at the end there, and people go, "Oh, he got a push off." But I'm not gonna gripe about that. If you're gonna jam, if you're going to redirect, you probably need to be aligned a little differently. Chancellor probably should have been on the outside shoulder of Gates to prevent him from having so much field to work. The redirect should come back inside to where your help is. There's no way that Gates should get outside of you in that situation, and Chancellor allows that, and it creates the touchdown. It's really great route running by Gates, though. Because Gates essentially, what it looks like to Chancellor is runs a fade. So Chancellor tries to get in the trail position so he can play the football. But then Gates, bounces back inside, and Rivers fires a bullet right to him. So that's another disappointing matchup problem. And Seattle kind of didn't match up well against Gates. I don't know if they had a certain approach that they thought would work, but they'd actually try to redirect him again on another of his touchdowns I'll talk about later. But the next play I'm going to note is at 8:29 in the second quarter. $8:29. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Scoot, scoot, scoot. Nope, that's not the one. And this is a 3rd and 5, 8:29. Woodhead in motion at the top. Wagner follows. Seattle's playing tight, so they want to press everything, or at least jam the routes. They also decide who declares the blitz early. But here's the thing. Richard Sherman gets beat. He gets beat one-on-one, but he gets beat because he doesn't pay attention to his details, and I'll explain as we watch the play here. And he gives ground. Oh, I definitely agree. I definitely agree there, Rupi. Yeah, it definitely was attention to detail in some cases. It was very confusing to watch. I haven't seen a team this undisciplined in terms of picking things up and passing things off, particularly in zone schemes, since 2010. It was very rare. So let's go ahead and go back to the Sherman play. Oh, probably went too far. Let's see. So it's 3rd and 5, and the snap happens. Now here's the thing that bothers me on the Sherman completion on 3rd and 5. Sherman bites on an outside fake by Keenan Allen. It's really weak. Sherman just being over aggressive, kind of jumps that, thinking, it's going to be a fade or something like that. But here's the thing. You can't do that in this situation. So let me explain why that is. When you call a blitz with Earl Thomas, you are basically leaving a large chunk of the field now undefended, especially with Chancellor all the way on the other end of the formation. So when you talk about attention to detail, Sherman can't bite on the outside fake there. He can't. He has to stay square to defend against Keenan Allen getting to the more open point of the field. If Phillip Rivers is going to throw the fade there, then you have to challenge it as it comes. You can't guess. And this is where Sherman, sometimes gets lucky and gets his interceptions, but you cannot do that. You can't know there's a blitz coming, know where Chancellor is, know you have no inside help, and all the field that's open is to the inside. And then go to the outside where the harder throw comes, for Phillip Rivers. that's a harder throw for Phillip Rivers to make to the outside if it's going to be a quick fade route on 3rd and 5, which nobody in their right mind outside of Jeremy Bates is going to throw a third down fade route or a 4th and 1 fade or whatever they were back in the day to Golden Tate. What's so frustrating about this is you don't really see Sherman make that mistake too often. But he did. He bit on it. He tried to get over the top of a route that wasn't real, and that left all that space for Keenan Allen to get open and made Cam Chancellor come all the way across the formation to make the stop after 13 yards. Just absolutely frustrating and unnecessary. So the next play I think we have is 457. That's a 3rd and 8. Now, I didn't want to give the illusion no good plays ever. I mean, there were a few stops on 3rd and long. Seattle did decide after the first half, where they definitely were over aggressive against deeper routes. They were definitely over aggressive against intermediate and deeper patterns, that they squeezed some of the shorter stuff after the second half started, and it kind of got Phillip Rivers out of his pass completion rhythm. I mean, they were still effective on offense a little bit, but they did start forcing some 3-and-outs later in the game. This is an illustration of what Seattle can do with a 3rd and long that they actually could force. Now, this formation's a little interesting. You're going to want to note right away that you have Kevin Williams, Brandon Mebane, and Michael Bennett as the down linemen. And Cliff Averill is actually standing up. And they're going to bring, I believe it's Earl Thomas on a blitz here on the other side, against the left side, and try to get home. What I find interesting about this is Mebane being on the field with Kevin Williams. I actually like that a lot. Now, they kind of as a run defender, but he has a lot of pass rush potential, and if he needs to find a groove, I think there could come a point in the season where he starts being a really impactful guy. So I'm going to start the play here, and I'll show you what I mean if you want to cue that up, if any of you have it. Watch the ball here. He almost sheds the the right tackle. Jeez. So the blitz is coming from the left. Kevin Williams produces a pretty reasonable rush there, but Phillip Rivers feels like he has to dump the ball, get rid of the ball deep. Keenan Allen has a shot as he's isolated one-on-one with Byron Maxwell, but Maxwell manages to stay in his hip pocket down the field and show up to play the pass, which is significantly overthrown. It's not like Byron Maxwell deflected it, but it was a really, really nice sequence of events. Another reason I wanted to make sure to note that play is just that Seattle's still trying to figure out its pass rush. Um, Definitely using a bunch of different formations, bunch of different personnel groupings. Now I don't know if they got caught with some guys on the field when they shouldn't be. Uh, Philip Rivers was definitely using a hurry up look, so there was times that probably guys got caught on the field. But I think Seattle's really still trying to find its way in terms of its pass rush. I could see as I kind of let it run here in terms of the game, and Percy Harvin just fumbled. Um, I could see Seattle struggling on the road in terms of its pass rush for a while until guys get a feel for each other. Michael Bennett's been the only guy that's consistently, had pressure or at least considerable pressure for the first two games. So I am very concerned about that. Any questions so far? Nope, nope. Looks like everybody wants me to move on, so I will go to the last bit here. So it's 111. It's third and goal left in the 111 left in the second quarter. Third and goal. For the formation basically has Sherman on the left side or the right side of the defense. In this case, the left side of the offense, taking him away from that side of the field. Earl Thomas is moving in motion with Danny Woodhead. And Malcolm Smith is now man-to-man with Antonio Gates, with Bobby Wagner working in the middle of the field and Chancellor back deep as the single high safety. Now, what's interesting about that is if you watch the play, I'm actually working from holding a still shot right now, is if you watch the play as it breaks down, Malcolm Smith is trying to redirect Antonio Gates to Chancellor. Okay? He's trying to redirect Antonio Gates to Cam Chancellor to basically make sure that they can't throw the ball to him. The problem is at this snap, so we'll start the play. Woodhead goes in motion, Earl Thomas follows. And what they do is Bobby Wagner shows blitz, then he directs, but Malcolm Smith is now one-on-one with Antonio Gates, and he tries to redirect all he can, but he winds up holding instead. And as soon as Antonio Gates shakes loose from Malcolm Smith, he basically makes a beeline for the side of the end zone. And in this case, even though Philip Rivers is in trouble from a collapsing pocket, he manages to see Antonio Gates running to the corner of the end zone or the side of the end zone, pulling away from Smith and throwing the ball, and Chancellor's late reacting to the ball being in the air and can't get over the top and interfere with the play or make a play on the ball. Not that I think he would have really been able to, even if he reacts on time. It's just a great route. It's a great finish to a play. But this is the direct result And the direct reason I said you needed to bracket Antonio Gates, and take him away and make the ball go somewhere else. Philip Rivers and Antonio Gates have years and years together. Okay, so they have feel for each other. So Philip Rivers is under pressure, but he knows Gates is loose from Malcolm Smith, and he just chucks the ball up as he's under pressure because they've probably thrown that particular route, that particular pass, that particular situation hundreds of times in practice, hundreds of times in, well, maybe not hundreds and hundreds, but many, many, many times in games. So you really need to, in those clutch situations like third and goal, third down specifically, you need to take Antonio Gates away. Seattle failed to specifically scheme to do that, and they wound up finding out that it is hard to man cover Antonio Gates. Some people would say that, that I mean zone coverage. What does bracket mean? Bracket means that two people follow Antonio Gates wherever he goes. It's not zone coverage because you're not passing off. You're not creating double coverage through, Antonio Gates runs a route and Richard Sherman covers him for a period of time, and then Earl Thomas comes over the top, or however that goes. That means however that route works, Malcolm Smith and Cam Chancellor would be on him at all times, denying the ability for a good throwing lane for the football. And Seattle just lacked the ability to do that. It was very, very disappointing for me to see that over and over illustrated in the game where they tried to man cover Antonio Gates, and you can't. Philip Rivers and he have so much familiarity with each other that you can't get away with it. And they tried to, and they couldn't. So does anybody have any questions? Statements, queries, annoyances, personal thoughts? Nothing? Well, heck, I have about 30 minutes left after going through all those plays. Why not go into the second half a little bit and see what Seattle did? All right, so we're in the start of the third quarter now. Second and 9, 14:25 to go. Philip Rivers back to pass, throws a quick screen to Eddie Royal. And Seattle, which normally has good tackles on those, definitely looked gassed and winded on some plays. Definitely, you could say places where they had trouble getting going in other directions, or places where they looked slow to react. You could definitely say heat played a factor. But I would say in key plays, I wouldn't put that on the Heat at all. I definitely wouldn't. I think there's too much blame going on the Heat and not enough on, what the team did. By the way, there's a nice sack by Bobby Wagner on the loop, but there's a flag. And I think Seattle gets in trouble for holding. But I was actually personally surprised that we didn't see a lot more like holding and illegal contact in this game. And now we have a good play by Marcus Burley on a quick screen attempt by Philip Rivers. I like this kid, and I think he's got a chance to go places. And then of course he goes down, I think, with an injury or a cramp. It looks like a cramp, but I do like him. I do like Burley as a nickel corner. I don't like him more than Lane, though. Let's make that clear. But yes, going back to what I was saying, I was surprised we didn't see a lot more holding and illegal contact. With heat being a factor and things like that, you'd think guys would be, reaching more, probably playing a little more physically downfield, desperate to kind of stay with guys. And now we have a nice pass breakup on 3rd and 8 by Josh Thomas, I think it is. Also, on that pass breakup, if we go back and look at it, that's at 12:06, 12:05, 12:05. Richard Sherman gets spun around again by, I think it's Malcolm Floyd. Does Malcolm Floyd still play in San Diego? Who's number 80 for them? Anyway, Richard Sherman gets spun around by number 80, whoever that is, and then he clears space for the fade against Josh Thomas, who stays with the play and doesn't get past interference or illegal contact called, which I like. Yep, Sherman gets spun around again on a quick slant by number 80, and no flags on Josh Thomas on the fade breakup. So disappointing to watch Sherman get beat so much. I mean, I guess that makes sense, but that's a great combination. But this game actually kind of scares me in terms of how, Mike McCoy was able to take advantage of stuff, because Seattle still has to see Bruce Arians twice this year, and Bruce Arians is a very talented play caller. Very talented, and that's dangerous for Seattle. Even if he's got crap at quarterback, there's still threats that could be had against us the way this game is going. And so San Diego punts. Seattle kind of works a little bit. There you have Gates making another catch at 8:42 in the third quarter. And that's just a situation where nobody picks up Gates. Gates winds up wide open. Good to see Cassius Marsh on the field on that play, though. So at about 8:45, second and 9, that's just disgusting. Nobody picks up Gates until he's all the way down the field. I don't know if Bobby Wagner's supposed to have that. I wouldn't say that. Chancellor is definitely supposed to pick that up. He doesn't see it. That's Chancellor's guy right there. Wow, what an awful game for him. Now that I won't hate him too much on. It's probably by this point it is a note of fatigue, but he doesn't recognize that he's supposed to pick up Gates there because Bobby picks up the running back. No, Chancellor just gets turned around. You know, that's not the first time I've seen Seattle cornerbacks and safeties getting turned around on routes by San Diego. That is not making me happy. So a little bit further in the third quarter, 6:17 to go, second and 10. I'll let you guys catch that up. Woodhead stopped for a gain of 1. Mebane really stepped up in the second half, making sure that San Diego couldn't call dive plays. Dive plays, isolation plays inside because they want to run inside because they don't have a lot of faith, I guess, in the run blocking tackles. They run a lot of inside stuff, and it was really good for Mebane to have that. And now on 3rd and 9, Seattle gives up a huge play to Eddie Royal. And Richard Sherman, I believe, guesses on this. Gets picked off on the whip route. Sherman never recognizes it. I mean, that's a 2-yard whip route. It's easy to spot most of the time. But now they got him twice, and Phillip Rivers loves it. And now Richard Sherman's got his hands on his knees and is just huffing and puffing. And now Earl Thomas is going off with cramps. It's a war out there right now with Mother Nature, and Seattle's losing. But that wasn't even a good scheme. I'm going to go back to that play. I'll note exactly where it is. I think it's 2nd and 10. It's exactly where this. Nope. Nope, it's 3rd and 9. 3rd and 9. So let's take a look at what happens. So Gates gets in. Sherman sucks up on that route. He breaks to the inside. And that's just a dumb play by him again. No, because Sherman shouldn't even be doing that. If you take a look at this play, take a look at the replay of this Eddie Royal catch on 3rd and 9. I'll timestamp it for you. So it's going to be about 5:45 in the third. Yeah, that's going to be about it. Going to start seeing them line up. So 5:45 is a good timestamp. I'll let you guys catch up if you're behind. So it's 3rd and 9. Sherman's going to get picked off and not recognize a whip route. And he's going to start huffing and puffing. Phillip Rivers loves it. But watch the replay here that happens right afterwards. And watch why I tell you that he shouldn't be giving ground. Watch what happens. So Eddie Royal breaks inside of Gates' block on Malcolm Smith. Okay? So Gates, no, that's KJ Wright. Sorry, that's KJ Wright. So he breaks inside of KJ Wright. Eddie Royal runs behind that route. Sherman tries to pursue him to the inside. But he shouldn't be doing that because, again, there's safety help there. There's more guys to make the play if Eddie Royal's going to go inside. You have more help there. And so Sherman giving up the outside like that makes the whip route perfect. Sherman gives up the outside ground. Sherman should stay home. If he stays home, he can make the play on this. And even if he does stay home, and let's say Eddie Royal continues that route, still got a good chance of stopping it before first down from the inside because safeties and linebackers will be able to shed players or, at least make plays. Sherman giving up all that outside ground just makes that play all the easier for Phillip Rivers to nail. So disappointing. And he'll tell you, no explosives, no touchdowns, but 2 plays that I've noted were just out and out mistakes by Richard Sherman that cost his team. You have all that help to the inside, and you give up the outside ground there. And then you have all that help. You have no help to the inside, and you guess on an outside route. Just disappointing and gross. Disappointing and gross. And now the team just looks like it can't even compete as guys start coming off the field en masse. It's just get them some Gatorade, Kool-Aid, whatever it is that you need. So I'll get a couple more plays in here. There's a deep pass, finally. One of the maybe 4 or 5 Phillip Rivers really threw in this game where and I'm saying anything over 20 is what I would consider a deep pass. Phillip Rivers didn't throw very many deep passes in this game. He got a lot of run after the catch, a lot of quick completions, a lot of stuff underneath. And Phillip Rivers, 4 years ago was not this guy. He didn't check down much. Third and 7, and Phillip scrambles like a guy. And they get a penalty on this one. I'm going to get one more play, try to get the Gates touchdown. Phillip Rivers is absolutely under siege. Okay, so what's the timestamp on this one? It's 3:08 left in the third quarter. 11 plays in the drive, 55 yards, 6 minutes. Just gross. Oh, thanks. Honk all you want. Yes. I don't have anything going on right now. Nope. Michael Bennett applies some pressure. It's not enough. KJ Wright's beat right off the snap. And Cam Chancellor is trying to get over the top, but he can't. He's late reacting. It's almost like he didn't see it until the last second that the ball was out on this last touchdown. It's hard to watch because this team just doesn't play this way. And you just really feel like Phillip Rivers didn't beat you. You beat yourselves. Yeah. KJ. All right, let's take a look at why this happens. So KJ's there, he's covering Gates, and he just gives up the inside because he's expecting Chancellor to be there, and he isn't. So he wants Chancellor to work almost as a double team. Chancellor doesn't get over the top. Oh, man. If there was a guy having a worse game on the football field, I don't know who it was. I mean, as much as I can harp on Sherman, and both of those catches I described deserve it, Cam Chancellor was having a worse day. Because he just reacts far too late. He starts moving over towards the route after the ball's already in the air. You need to be reacting once the ball is out. So he needed to be moving about a step or stride or two sooner. And Phillip Rivers is just all over himself with, loving the fact that he is beating Seattle. Then he should, because even though we beat ourselves, Seattle beat themselves a lot in this game, he still made phenomenal football throws. And also, can we just say Antonio Gates makes probably a Hall of Fame type catch there on that third touchdown? I mean, one-handed, just freaking gross. By the way, one other note before I head out here. Can we just avoid having David Deal on a broad again? I don't know if that guy's taken too many blows to the head or what, but I don't know that he even knows what the English language is. All right, guys, thank you for joining me, and hopefully we can do one of these next week after a big victory over Peyton Manning. Okay, thanks, and see you next week.